host also. Oh, okay. So I see Hank has implemented the recording. And I think recording in this sense means the video recording,
That is
not
correct.
the transcript or
Transcript is not a
the
recording.
meeting summary.
Those are not
And
recordings.
right. And I will start the AI companion and the start summary at the beginning of the board meeting and stop it at the end of the board meeting so that the meeting summary will reflect only the discussion during the board meeting. You might explore that AI companion. I think if you click on it, you get a window that explains. I don't know what you get, so I'll just shut up.
Yeah, I am still not a co-host if you were intending to make me one, Stan.
Sorry. See if I can do it this way. There we go.
Now I am. Thank you.
I apologize for the confusion on the time of the meeting started. I know the invitation indicates 10 a.m. and that's when I opened the Zoom meeting. Actually, I was open earlier, but just for this purpose, to sort of have a hallway conversation, standing around in the hallway before you go into the meeting, a little time before the meeting to kibitz. And so anyway, we'll see.
Yeah.
Notice on the agenda, I put an area that I don't think I had before highlighted about, please note, SCG members are welcome to participate in the board meeting if they are responding to items under discussion. After being recognized by the chair, please raise your hand for recognition. The Zoom meeting, well, okay, the invitation was on the second page. And unfortunately, I think I sent out 2 versions of the agenda just to be sure that item 10 has an item to discuss the Zoom hosting for the second Saturday meeting where this will get full airing.
Yeah, I printed this earlier, I mean, days ago, whenever you sent it out. And it says version 1 in highlight just above item 1 on the agenda.
Yeah, that's the one that has, I call it first revision. It's a revision, so it's the first revision.
Revision, you're correct.
Yeah.
And good morning, all.
Good morning, David.
Morning.
And as long as we have the relevant people here, for Saul and for Hank, I have got a couple bits of feedback since I sent out version 2 of the meeting minutes. So I have a version 3 prepared, and I can drop that into the chat if we want to. All that, and when we get into the meeting, I'll explain the small change that was made for version 3.
But you're going to send us an email with it as an attachment?
I can send everyone an email like I did before, or I can drop it into the chat right now if you'd like to grab it
No,
right now.
I'd,
I will send out the
I've
email.
already adjusted the website twice, and I will adjust it a third time when you send it to me by email.
Okay.
Yeah, I think email works best for most people.
Don, are you a board member? No?
No, Don Raymond is not. Yeah,
I did get the invitation, however, so I just responded.
yeah, that went out to all members. And the big list, I presume.
Yes.
We start the other meeting in just a few minutes, right?
Right.
At 10:30.
Yes. Like a few minutes away.
6 minutes by my clock.
Well, you two will have to get up an hour earlier after Sunday. It's for the Hawaii contingent.
To stay in synchronous with the great mass of the California contingent.
And we do appreciate you getting up earlier.
And by my count, at the present time, we do have a quorum. 6.
Barely, but 6, yes.
It's a quorum.
Yeah.
Don't quibble. Alice sent me an email and said that she has a family situation and she will not be in town, not available for the meeting, so she will not be here.
Thank you for letting us know.
So by my reckoning, we're waiting for Will, Miriam, and Ray.
That's the same as what I got.
Who are the 6, Dan?
Stanley, Hank, Arlene, Saul, David, and Willie.
Okay, Thank you.
And Jim Fagacci.
And Jim
Oh,
is now
yes.
here as well. He's 7. So Saul, I was looking at your backdrop and then comparing it to my backdrop, and I think my backdrop's far cooler than yours. You should get a better picture.
Mine's reality.
Well, isn't that amazing?
I don't know. You got tough competition with Ross's background with his Star Trek command center or something. There's
Yeah.
Miriam.
That's my pool
Very
Very
good.
nice. Landscapes
Nice.
and all. That's great.
in the backyard in Hawaii.
Hello, Miriam.
Hello. What animal is that you're lying with, Jim?
Jim
You're
needs to unmute. We don't read lips.
Not well.
That's better. That's a kangaroo down in Australia.
Oh, a friendly kangaroo.
Hell yeah. It's a kangaroo, kind of a rescue place.
So he looked a bit big for a wallaby.
Yeah, he was as big as I was, if not bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a big animal.
When I was down there, we were traveling the bus, and there was about 3 of these kangaroos bouncing along right beside the bus, doing bus speeds.
It either says something about your bus speed or
Well, I got good news this week. My the implant in my mouth has taken, and I'm gonna get a tooth.
Yay.
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 It'll
I've
probably
had
be a month
implants
before
done
you
and
see it, but
They're
I'm gonna get one.
and they're very good. I haven't had any trouble with the implants I've had done.
I have 2 and I'm going for my 3rd next week.
Oh boy.
You know, you don't get old without getting a few spare parts installed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for being here on time, and many of us early. You may have noticed that I have started recording the meeting summary, and that is a AI device, and I will at the end of the meeting I will forward it to you when they send me a copy of the summary. This is not the minutes. The minutes are whatever David says the minutes are. And the transcript is available for it. I think I've implemented so that if you view the transcript, you can save the transcript for your own records if you wish to. And so that's up to the individual. If they want to save a transcript of the meeting, they're welcome to. That's just a hopefully semi-literal transcript of the words spoken, no pictures. We are in a video recording session, And the meeting is being recorded and it will be made available to Hank to include on the website, as well will the minutes. So I would like to call the meeting to order at 10:31. And are there any adjustments to the agenda that anyone would like to make? Hearing none, I will accept them as presented. Minutes of the previous board meeting. David, would you like to address that?
Yes, I'd like to just, thank everyone for actually reading the minutes and commenting on it, because everyone has a better memory of what they said than sometimes I get a chance to write down. And when I sent out version 2 a day yesterday, I got a couple more comments. I've included those in a version 3, which I will be sending out to people immediately after this meeting. The only changes that were made from the one that you have already seen was that you wanted to make it clear that Will was stepping down as membership chair, and that Willie has agreed to take over maintaining the database, so that I did not want to, or we should not be giving the impression that Willie has accepted taking up the membership chair position as of now. Willie, does that address your concerns?
Yeah, so I just want to make clear it was more of the membership and not the vice president of administration, which is what you had it down under.
Yeah.
That's a board position. So
Who is the membership chair at this moment?
Will Wakely.
That's our understanding, yes. Will, is that your understanding? Will Wakely?
Will's muted.
I presume he's present.
He was.
That's my understanding, that Will is willing to give up the task of maintaining the membership list. And Willie,
but he hasn't done it. It hasn't formally happened yet, was what I
no,
would.
they're in the process of.
Yeah.
Willie and Will are in communication with each other to work out the details.
Yep, I understand.
So
there are no changes in the elected offices yet.
Yeah. So as far as the minutes go, with that change to make it more clear about what Will would like to do and what Willie has agreed to do, can I have a request to accept the minutes as amended? One from
Yeah,
Saul.
I would, no, I'm not making
Okay.
a motion. There were 2 other items that I sent you, and I have not heard about those 2.
Okay. The changes about Miriam's amount. Yeah, Miriam had sent those to me, and those should have been in the version 2. That she has started the process, has not finished the process, and that the amount was $25 and not $35. Does that finish your list, or was there something else, Saul?
There was one other item, which is actually under item 1, which says one agenda change, drop item 6B, unanimously approved and amended. That was not dropped. We discussed it.
Well, let's put it this way. We agreed to drop it, and then we went and discussed it. So I would say that the minutes reflected what we did in the meeting.
It was an agenda item already on the agenda. And there was a question of whether it should be removed from the agenda, and it was agreed not to remove it. That does not mean it was dropped from the agenda. It was already on the agenda.
Oh, okay. So you're saying we someone asked to have it removed and we decided to not remove it. Okay, I will
That's
update that as
correct.
well. Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, with that one additional change, for the minutes to come out version 3, are we agreed that we can accept the minutes as amended?
I'd like to see the minutes before we agree to it.
A minute for, okay, motion's been made but not seconded. Does anybody want to second that motion or go further into discussion?
I think it's going to fail.
Okay, the motion has not been seconded. David, would you want to rephrase it or table this?
Well, if we cannot get agreement at the meeting to accept the minutes, then we shall have the, we'll basically we'll have the revised minutes approved at the next meeting, if possible. Okay.
All right, very good. Duly noted. Thank you, David. President comment. Oh, Dan, you had your hand up. My apologies. Yes, your comment, please.
Yes, I got 2 messages that said the host requested me to unmute myself. And I don't understand what that's about.
Would one of my co-hosts care to address that? I don't think I sent him a message.
Did you request him to do that, Stan?
No.
I probably did.
Oh, well, what's the question again?
Dan received a message from the Zoom app, that he's using, that the host requested that he unmute himself.
I don't recall doing that. I don't know whether
Hank said he thinks he did it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So Dan, please disregard that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dan. All right. Today we're using a different version of Zoom. I apologize to those that have explained this before, but it is, I think, the same version as AppSug has, but it is open and more features are available to the participants. And then when we get down to item 10, we're going to discuss on how to proceed. But during this meeting, until we get to that point, I would like you, as much as possible, without interrupting the progress of the meeting, to explore the features that are currently available compared to the features that are available on our regular Saturday AppSug hosted meeting. There is areas in the captions that you should be able to save the transcript on your own computer if you wish. The chat window should be possible to save if you find the right more button or something. I don't know all the details of the different features, but there are a lot of different features that have been made available for this version of Zoom. I'm suggesting that I'll get to the motion when I get down to 10. Enough said about that. Is just try to see if there are any features that you think are worth preserving. Moving forward, Will, administration report. Do you have any comments?
There was the president's report prior to that.
That was it.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good.
Okay. Other than the fact that I am stepping down as membership chairman, and thankfully Willie Stevenson has agreed to pick that up. I'm just wondering if you go ahead, David. Got a comment?
Yeah, well, we had a discussion when we were talking about the minutes and the feedback that I got from Willie was that he had agreed to pick up maintenance of the database and not necessarily taking over the duties of VP administration. Is that correct, Willie?
That's correct. I'll continue on as VP of administration.
Okay.
Yeah. But Willie and I are working out the details of transferring the membership information. One question I have of Stan, how long can we hold this meeting? I know unless it's a professional Zoom, it's restricted to 40 minutes.
It's
Is that what-
unrestricted. It is a paid version.
Oh,
that
you have a paid
Walkabout
version.
is
Okay.
paid for. And
Okay.
this is the same, well, I'm repeating myself. So this is a paid
No,
version.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had a question about was the length of time. Other than that, I have no other comments, other than I have visited Wesley Palms within the last couple of days, and they have upgraded considerably. And I asked them if they'd be willing to have us have a meeting there once in a while, and they indicated to the affirmative. So if we do want to have a separate physical meeting, we can hold it at Wesley Palms in their auditorium. But other than that, I have nothing else to report.
If I did you say anything, or was the storage space discussed at all? Do we still have stuff stored there?
You know, when I was there, I took a tour of the facility, and they have done a considerable modification of the facilities. And I meant to go check on the storage area. I didn't see it immediately, but I'll go back and take a look and see what's going on.
Yeah, that would be valuable to know whether we still have stuff there. Okay,
I
moving
believe they
forward.
still have a storage facility, yes.
Yeah, very good. All right, moving forward, public relations, Willie.
Well, I continue to bring up our group whenever I meet with my classmates, and that's pretty much all I'm doing in terms of public relations and publicity.
Okay, I might add that I'm resuming my Walkabout Zoom meeting, even though Walkabout is no longer in effect. I am doing a weekly Walkabout chat Zoom, and I send a reminder, including Hank's invitation to guests to join the SCG meetings on Saturday. So I am resuming a weekly reminder to about 230 former Walkabout people that the SCG is inviting them to attend a meeting on Saturday.
Thank you, Stanley.
Okay.
Willie,
Treasurer's report.
Okay,
Oh, David?
Well, one quick question, Willie. How many classes are you taking that you're mentioning our group in?
I have 4 classes,
Okay.
2 technology classes, a writing, or it's actually a communication class, and a spreadsheet / SQL database class.
Well, you're quite the academic there, I see.
Yeah, well, it's all non-graded and no credit, but it's fun.
Very
And
good.
the couple of people that have responded to me, by the way, have always said that Saturday is just not a good day for them. That's their only reason for not showing up, is they just say they're busy.
Okay. All right, moving on to Miriam for the treasurer's report.
I thought we had Hank next.
Yeah, that's what I was
No.
gonna say.
I'm sorry, programs report. Hank, yes. My apologies.
Nothing to report.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Treasurer's report, Miriam.
Now I'll read my little report. February was the most active month in a long time. We received membership dues from 26 people plus $90 in donations to the group. I completed the 501c3 paperwork and mailed it in with checks totaling $45. That's the 25 that goes to the Attorney General and 20 that goes to the Secretary of State. We started the month with $4,892.07, and we now have $5,317.24. And I attached cash flow and net worth statements that covered the months of January and February. I didn't think there was any longer period of time that was necessary. That's it. Saul.
Oh,
So I sent you an email, Miriam, I don't know if you noticed it, and I asked why there were different classifications from January to February.
I haven't looked into that yet. I got it yesterday, I think.
Thank you.
And I've had other things on my mind.
all right.
But I will.
Wakely? Oh,
Yeah, some possible good news. UChug, which is has been around for about the same length we have, are closing their doors, and they have a not considerable treasury, but probably $1,000 or more, and they're looking for some place because they're a 501c3. They have to transfer their treasury to another 501c3, and they mentioned that Senior Computer Group is a potential one, and I applauded them for that. And so we may be seeing some money coming from UChug, but I can't guarantee it, verify it right now. But within the next, before the end of this year, we'll find out if we are recipients of that. I'll try to promote it if I can.
Will,
that's
Yes.
interesting, Will. David, what did your comment?
okay, could you decode UChug for us?
Yeah, UChug is under the Computer Hood user group. It's a group that's been together, started out as a Heath user group some 45 years ago, and has finally dwindled down to about the same number of members we have, maybe fewer, and they've decided to close their doors. But it's essentially the same type of group we are, computer helping, Q&A, presentations, essentially identical to what we do. Saul?
Is by end of year mean that's when they're closing down?
Yeah, they have to close down before, I believe, September or something, mainly because of this 501c3.
Thank you.
Willie, did you have a comment?
Yeah, is there any chance of them joining us as members?
Yes, I've invited them to do that.
Okay, I mean, more than just transferring the money, if they want to continue on the technical discussions, I think they'd be a welcome group.
Right, I have invited them to join us if they wish.
And even if they don't want to join as a paying dues member, we welcome all who just send me a request with their email.
Correct,
Yeah,
I've clarified that to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Tell them that, please, Will.
yeah.
I have, yes.
And Will, if they have a membership list that maybe we could send the invitations to, that would be useful.
Good point. I'll request that. Now, they have several professional computer people in that group, and I think that would help us in that we can use any additional professional help we can get. Saul?
Yeah, unless they've changed, I believe they met on Wednesday evenings. Is that correct, Will?
Their meeting has been a monthly meeting on Wednesday, the first Wednesday of each month. At
Right. So
7
I'm
o'clock,
just
yeah.
raising that because of what earlier comments that Willie made. Saturday mornings may not work out for them.
Well, we'll find out.
Do you know if they're members of APCUG?
They are.
Okay.
Yeah.
One thought is a curious coincidence. As you know, Walkabout, which I've been affiliated with, has gone out of business, and they also ended up with about $1,000 to dispense with, and they are distributing that. There is another organization walking related that they are transferring their funds to after they run it down with nonsense expenses like paying Zoom $160 per my request. So they are also in a similar situation. It's that they're just a year ahead of you, Chuck. Just a curiosity. Committee reports. Will and Willie.
Can-
Do you-
Okay,
Oh,
I
Saul.
would like to show something on the screen.
Yeah, I just don't know if we needed to approve the treasurer's report.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. David, Miriam, do you wish to make a motion?
No, somebody else ought to do that, I think.
I move we accept the treasurer's report as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved by Will and seconded by Arlene that we accept the treasurer's report as presented. All in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Now, Will and Willie. Sounds like a vaudeville team.
Yeah, I would like to see if I can share my screen here and show something in the way of here, I think this should work. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
This report shows that in March, we are dropping all old members that do not renew. And at this point in early March, we just have 37 active members. So there are 8 that have not renewed. I have sent out a renewal request to those 8, and I've heard back from a couple. So there'll be more information. And we agreed before that I would only show the February report, but I thought it was important that people understand, because of this critical time when we drop people in March, that they see what this status is right now. And
Did you get any reasons, Will, for the non-renewers?
no, they just don't respond to my request.
My question is, Miriam indicated a lot of renewals. Are they reflected in there?
Yes, as you can see that we had 45 in February.
Oh, okay.
And so some 37 of them, well, actually 27, because 10 of these are life members. So 27 have responded.
Stan, if you look at line 6, row 6, those are the renewals.
Oh, okay. I see. All right. The total
yeah, you're
over
right.
in column O, row 9, says 35. What is that a total of?
Well, that really should not read 35 at this point. I went in and quickly changed that to 37, which is our latest number. That should be reading 37, not 35. Yeah. There's some changes to this. So don't take this as the last report. The last report will be coming out next month. Anyway, just a heads up on how we're doing and getting renewals. Okay, thank you.
How about Willie and Will, do you agree that Willie has the information he needs to create a database that are you in agreement? What's going on there?
Well, I have received no changes since February, since the initial agreement to take over the database. And I asked Will to send me the latest, however you're inputting it to the Access database. I know you had a computer issue, so I was waiting for you to resolve that.
Well, I'm still working on resolving that, but the data is still there, and I am updating that, and I'll share that with you.
Yeah, as soon as that's ready. That's why I was kind of waiting until the end of March to make any changes to my end of it. But I have noticed I got some information from Hank about PayPal. And in fact, I was going to ask Miriam if you seem to be the recipient of all the paid memberships. So you're taking the paper payments, the check payments, and the PayPal payments together into your treasury report, right?
No, the information from PayPal goes to Hank, and he sends me a note when he deposits it in the bank. All I use as input for my report is the bank statement. And I get the paper checks from Will, from the post
Okay.
office. And I get an announcement from Hank that he's made a deposit, but I can verify that when I get the bank statement. So
they're not, it's not individual by members when it gets to you. It says aggregate.
no, it's I keep the checks just in case
Right.
you will have a question. And Hank has made a very nice spreadsheet of the ones that he gets. And he sent me a copy of that because this last time the numbers didn't add up as just being membership money. There was money from 2 other people that was in excess of what is required for a membership, which I treated as a donation.
Right. Yeah, I got that from Hank yesterday too. The PayPal output spreadsheet, comma separated value. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. I can see the data.
You
But
can send
the
it to
thing
you
is
in
that just
Excel format.
right. That just gives me the PayPal side of it. And I don't see the check side of it yet. So as soon as I get that
Yes.
with Will and we get coordinated, then I got a handle on it.
And if Will doesn't have it, I can give it to you because I still have the paper checks.
Yeah, Miriam, I think my records only show one person sending additional funds as a contribution. You said 2?
2, somebody paid 25 and another person paid 100.
Okay, I need to check my records and I know about the 100. I don't recall the 25.
I think it was Don
Do you
Raymond
know-
that sent 25. Yep, and he's got his hand up.
Okay, let me check that.
Let me comment, this is Hank, let me comment on what I receive and what I will do with it. Whenever PayPal receives a donation or dues or any money, they send me an email and tell me who sent it, when it was sent, and how much it was. And I will forward that. I have in the past forwarded that to Will. I will now forward it to both Will and Willie until we're sure about this takeover. Hold on, that's my
That would be good.
phone. It will stop in a minute.
I don't know what he hears.
His cell phone is ringing.
Oh,
Don't hear it.
We're not hearing it to the best of my understanding.
There we go. There we go. We're done. Okay, so I will forward that to Will and Willie, and after the turnover is complete, I'll forward it to Willie. Now, the spreadsheet that Miriam mentioned is something that I can generate when I want. And I did it so that we could unscrew this question of who sent how much when. But I won't do that regularly. I can do it whenever I want or whenever someone asks me to, but it's not a normal thing.
And can you send me a copy of that, please?
Yes, I will. I should have, but I didn't. That's all I have to say on that subject.
Thank you, Hank. All right, moving forward, old business, anybody want to bring up anything we haven't brought up? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business, which is Zoom hosting for second Saturday meetings. I'd like to present my argument for what I'm proposing, and then I'd like Hank to discuss the alternative. Basically, I feel that the Zoom account that we get provided from AppSug is overly protected. They are concerned about some of their user groups and members being Zoom bombed and violations of security and identity and one thing or another, and have made their version of Zoom limited. That's my humble opinion. Others may have other opinion. What we are looking at right now is basically the same professional version of Zoom as being regardless of security to a great extent. And that may bother many of us. And we can discuss that, but this version allows us to tailor it to the needs of the senior computer group. And I've tried to suggest that you explore the features. For instance, transcript, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is if you view the transcript, you scroll down to the bottom and you can click on a button to save transcript. And as an individual, you can save that. The chat window, I believe, if you click on more, you can save the chat window. There are things that I have not explored, like breakout rooms and whiteboards and notes and a bunch of other features that are available if we want to make use of them. And so anyway, I'm proposing that for the second Saturday meeting, we use this meeting ID and this account as we got here today for that meeting, for those various reasons. Hank, would you care to make a rebuttal?
Yes. I would like to not change from what we have been doing, and I'll tell you why. First, I don't see much of a difference. You talk about things that are different and more restrictive. The only thing that I've seen that is somewhat restrictive is the chat. As I understand it, in Stan's version of Zoom, each person can save the chat. In the version that we were using and will be using for the other 3 weeks of the month, the chat is instantly available to the host at the end of the meeting. And I have said many times that anyone who wants to copy the chat, just let me know and I'll forward it as an attachment back to them. That's the only thing that I see that's different between what we normally do and what we're doing today that's significant. The second and much more important reason that I think we should stay where we were is we lose members. At 10:30 this morning, we had only 11 attendees. At 10:45, we had only 14. A couple of minutes ago, we had only 15, and right now we have 16. Last week, we had 23. I think that's a big price to pay, and that's the main reason that I suggest we stick to what we were doing. I have a personal reason for suggesting that. It's just a pain to me, but that's not really important to the group. End of speech. Any other comment?
I'd like to make one comment is we lost viewers at this meeting, not necessarily members.
Right.
And I agree with that, but okay, Dan, you have a comment.
Yes, this is a board meeting. And
This
lot
is
of
a board
members don't
meeting.
show up for board meetings. That could be the reason you have fewer members. The other thing I wanted to ask about is there is a button on the bottom of my screen that says AI compilation. And if I click on that, I get sort of like the chat, but it's AI stuff. It says, sure, in this meeting, participants discussed various topics, including their backdrops, kangaroos, dental implants, and approval of minutes. So it has an additional feature there that I don't know if anybody's seen or not.
Okay, thank you, Hank. Thank you, Dan. Yes, there are other features, and that's why I say I encourage you to explore the additional buttons that you have. The vast majority of the additional features are of no value or interest to us. I grant you that. But there are some features that I think are worthwhile. And we can, anyway, Will, you have a comment.
Yeah, I just noticed that in the chat, you can direct your chat to individuals, where I don't believe previously we could do that.
That is
That's
correct.
correct. There are a lot of features that we haven't noticed before because they weren't available. And so that's why I encourage us to keep this at least for the second Saturday. In the future, we could host this ourselves. And we can host it for the whole year using this free version if you wish. But with our treasurer, we could afford to pay $160 a year to have our own version. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Saul.
The primary differences of things that I think are useful or potentially useful have already been pointed out, which is to do with the chat. One is saving the chat, one is doing direct messages between any two people in the meeting in the chat. Beyond that, I don't think there's any useful differences or potentially useful differences between them. And I am inclined to go along with Hank in that I think it is confusing to have different links on different weeks for people to find the meeting.
Good point. John Raymond.
You're muted, Don.
Thank you, David. Just for my preferences, I would like to have the same link for every week, whatever one that is. And I believe that we can just simply upgrade the one we have if we want to get more features, and then keep the same link.
Yeah.
David had his hand up.
Yeah, actually, Don, I don't think that's quite we can't, if we're using the one from AppSug, we obey their rules, and they've locked it down in some ways that this version that Stan has provided us isn't locked down. I also agree with Saul and pretty much Hank that I'd like to have one link that we can reuse. That's the easiest way for us to make it easy for our members to get here in the same way every time. Unless there's already someone that says that the problem or the chat not being able to be saved individually is a big problem. I think that Hank has already offered to send them the chat transcript afterwards. Unless someone finds that unacceptable, I think what we had before is quite usable.
Michael, as I mentioned, I would be willing to, well, maybe I didn't mention it this way. I would be willing to be the host, that is the one who signs us into this account. If Hank will continue just use this as the link for all of our meetings, and that will be good through the year 2024. And if after 2024 you want to buy your own, you could do that. The question is whether Hank would be willing to do that, or that would be the same account number, meeting ID as we have today, every week on a weekly meeting. So I'd be willing to do that if that's an option that you would prefer over having a different meeting ID for twice a month, first, second week, etc. Willie, you comment?
Yeah, it's stepping back a second, but you got to realize that at least the AppSug meetings that I've been to, they host 80 to 100 people each time. So they sort of have a different, I don't know if you call it, a different community of people. They can't necessarily do breakout groups, breakout rooms effectively. So they don't allow that. But I think we haven't explored breakout rooms. I see it as effective here in the sense that if somebody had a special issue that, say, 4 people were interested in discussing at the Saturday meeting, they could pull off to the side and have a 4-person meeting, 6-person, 2 people, and still join the group after they're done and maybe give a brief back to the total group. I mean, there's all sorts of things we do, at least in the education world, that works really, really well that way. We just can't explore it because we don't have that capability unless we use your link.
Thank you, Willie. Any other observations?
Yeah, I want to point out that my comment about losing members or losing attendees is related to the different link that people have to click on the invitation that Stan had me email out. And
Okay.
one other thing, whatever we do, I would suggest that the time in the announcement be 10:30, not 10.
Okay. I would propose then that, well, I'd like to get the sense of the board, but it may require a vote. I would propose that we continue with this meeting ID. I would host it. We still have access to the AppSug webinars, and we would, on a weekly basis, use this current meeting ID with the features thereof. And it would be the same task to Hank. I would make him co-host. He would have access to all of the recordings and everything. I got to work out the details, but that would be my proposal, is to use this meeting ID for all of the meetings. We could make a permanent change to having that, so we wouldn't be changing it second week versus the other weeks. I prefer someone else make that motion, but anyway, Will, would you like to?
Yeah, a couple comments. One, what happens at the end of the year on renewal? Is that also covered by someone? Who pays the 150 a year? Would it certainly not you individually, Stan?
Practically speaking, it is easier for an individual to sign up and then get reimbursed. In this particular case, I paid out of my credit card the $160 and was reimbursed by the walkabout treasurer for that expense. That's the easiest way to change the ownership of an account. And I would propose at the end of the year, we do that same thing, that if you wish to proceed and maintain the same meeting ID, I would propose, or anybody could do it, that they simply sign up. And I'm not sure whether you could change ownership without changing the meeting ID or not. But it's easier to keep the same meeting ID than by just paying the dues again.
I'd like to
Saul,
make a
or-
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes,
I move that we continue to use the ABSUG program for Zoom.
okay, I understand the motion has been made. We continue to use the AppSug version for our all Zoom meetings.
And I will second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we maintain our present status of using the AppSug meeting for, well, I'll let the secretary read back the motion if there's any question. It seems clear, but
Yeah, the motion that Hank made was basically that we continue to use the AppSug account for all of our meetings.
been moved and seconded, moved by Hank and seconded by Saul.
And before you call the question, I just want to know if Will got his questions answered.
No, I was going to ask a second question of Hank,
Oh,
asking him why he did not want to change. But I would like to point out that it's a matter of some money now. You know, we have to come up with $150 every month, every year, I mean, that we don't spend now. But the APCUG account is free for us. That's one thing to consider. $150 is not a whole lot, but it is, you know, I'd like to have an extra 150 in my pocket.
Well, our treasurer looks like we got thousands in the account. I don't see a problem with $150 a year, but what do I know?
Just to clarify, the Zoom use, APCUG Zoom account, our use of it is not free. We have membership dues of $50 a year to AppSug. Okay, we're paying for that privilege.
Okay. Yeah, correct. So it would be $100 different. But the point is, you know, if we don't have to pay $100, why do it?
Well, it would still be 150 if we were to use a different Zoom account. Okay, because we would still want to be members of AppSug for the webinars.
Yes, I agree. I think we should continue with AppSug and pay their $50, whether we're using it for our monthly meetings, weekly meetings or not. Is there any further discussion before we call the vote?
Well, I'm still saying that we have to pay an additional $150 every year if we do not use the APCUG Zoom account.
That is correct.
Yeah, I agree. If that affects your decision, it affects your decision. My point is we can easily afford it without collecting any more dues.
But the question is, what do we gain by using the walkabout?
Well, we've just been
The only
discussing
thing I see
the
is
chat.
there's only an advantage of the chat. That's the only advantage I see.
Yeah,
Is there an additional advantage?
Well, we haven't explored all the options of the walkabout version yet. So I think we're jumping to chat and transcripts. I still think there's a lot more down there with the whiteboards and notes and all these options down there. I don't know. I haven't used it yet myself either, but I wouldn't write it off at this point.
We have a motion on the floor. It's been
Saul
seconded
had his hand up.
in discussion and is ready for calling for the question.
Don, first of all, this is a board decision. Number two, we're in discussion. Once a motion's made, then there's a discussion period before the question is called.
Yes.
And that's what we're in. We're discussing it right now. So my comment was going to be, it's not all pros to go to a different Zoom, more capable one, as Willie's looking at. There are cons, which in my case, on my particular Zoom app right now, has so many additional icons for AI and stuff that it shoved the chat into the more. It makes it harder to get to the basic stuff that we would use. And I don't like that.
I agree.
And I'd like to say one thing. It may be a little bit too soon to make a full decision on this because we don't know what we can do. I think that it might be a very good thing for one of our programs to review new features that are available on the Zoom app, and so that people can see that. Now then, I don't know if we have to use the new Zoom app in order to see that or discuss it, but what we said last time, what we're supposed to do is give people knowledge and information. Perhaps we don't have enough knowledge and information about all the different things, like how breakout rooms could work or how AI companions could work and so on. So I think there's some more learning that we can do.
Willie
I would
seems
applaud-
to know
I would
about
applaud that,
breakout
yes.
rooms. Willie, do you think that we can have a breakout room in the AppSug version?
I don't think we can. But you're the host, so you have to set up the breakout rooms. So
I've not seen anything about it.
I would call for the vote.
I agree. I will call the vote. Is there any last chance for discussion on the motion?
Yes, I'd point out that if you vote in favor of the motion, you're voting to stick with the AppSug.
I understand. Everybody understand the motion? All right. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. And raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
I'm counting. 1, 2, 3. Something changed. 1. I'll ask the secretary to count the votes.
Okay. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Although Barb is not a board member.
Wait a
So-
minute, I'm not.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you got to
Hey,
count Hank also. Okay.
Yeah, that's right, Hank.
Count
So,
me, please.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with Hank.
We can use reactions here to vote. There's a red and a green button there. You can vote no and use reactions and click on red or green.
Reactions.
There's reactions.
Down on the bar, and it may have been pushed over into more.
Well, I don't have the same thing on my iPad that you guys have on your computers.
Correct. Which is why using additional features can be unnecessarily complicated.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Yes.
5, 6. I count 6 votes in the affirmative.
Agreed.
Everybody agree on that?
Yes.
Okay. All those opposed, raise your hand. Oppose the motion. 2, 3.
Wait a minute.
How do you
How do you
drop your
take
hand?
down? How do you take down your?
How do you
Use
take your
reaction.
hand down? Yeah.
Take your hand down.
Huh?
You don't.
I don't know how to take my hand down.
Okay.
It's a
Go over to where you
checkbox.
raised it, and it'll say
Well,
take
it's
your hand
green.
down.
I give up. All those. It passes. Are there any abstentions? It passes with no abstentions. And it looks like a 6 affirmative votes. All right.
How do you take
End of
your
discussion.
how do you
I
take your
encourage
check
you.
away?
I encourage you all to explore the Zoom capability on your own and decide if there's any features there that you would like to pursue. We can go back to my version at any time if you wish, if only for the board meeting. And of course, that has its own problems. Enough said.
And for Ray, you have to just click on the yes again and we'll remove it, or whatever the reaction is. It's a toggle. It turns it on or off. So go back to react.
Okay.
There, you did
It
it.
worked.
Thank you. Okay, moving forward. Directors at large comment. Ray Slater, do you have any comment you'd like to make?
I do have a comment I want to make, but not, as far as I'm concerned, everything regarding the way this board meeting has gone, I'm comfortable with. I just wanted to say that weeks ago, I received a link to renew my membership. And when I clicked on it, I got an error message. And I sent Will a note that I hadn't had any success there. I didn't hear anything back, and then I kept forgetting to pay my dues. I've been a member over 20 years there, but I did pay it, and I don't know whether it's been received yet, but I did pay it through PayPal beginning of the week. So I want you to know that I'm now in good standing, even though I'm a life member.
You were in good standing before you paid because you're a life member. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Ray. Arlene, do you have any comments?
No, not really.
All right, thank you. Jim Figacci,
Nothing at this time.
Saul Chummer,
3 things. Sunday, daylight savings begins tomorrow. Just don't forget it. Spring forward. I won't be here next week because I'll be out of town and I don't want to Zoom while I'm away anyway. And the third is just going back to a earlier topic that Will brought up with regard to Wesley Palms. We have no insurance, so it doesn't matter if the room's available. We cannot meet there.
good point. Thank you, Saul. And Alice King is not present today. Next meeting, April 13th, will be hosted by the SCG Zoom program. And I declare the meeting adjourned at 11:28 a.m. Thank you all for being here, and we will continue with a Q&A. Will, do you want to host the Q&A, or?
I can, yes.
Anyway, I turn it over to Will. Thank you all for a good meeting.
Okay, Barb has her hand up early. You have a Q&A question, Barb?
Yes, I do. It's kind of related to last week when we were talking about using our Android phone and that type of thing. I think Dawn might be more, but I managed to locate the directions for drive, to get direct GPS and the directions when I was driving somewhere, but I couldn't get, no matter what I did, I couldn't get the volume, get any noise, nobody talking to me. Does anybody know how to activate that on an Android phone?
Barb, can I just ask, are you using Bluetooth to connect your phone to the audio system in the car?
I don't know.
You're just playing sound right out of the phone.
Right. That's what I was looking at. My caregiver can do it with her phone, but she's got an Apple phone, so.
Do you hear sound other times from your phone?
I don't have any speaking voices from the phone. I get, I get the notification, and I've checked my volume buttons at the side and I've got them all turned up.
But you do hear things from your phone, yes.
I hear, yeah.
You ever play videos, music, anything from the phone?
No. My phone's been a phone. I'm from the old time where we had telephones. So
You do use it on speakerphone at times so you can hear the phone?
I do have to push a button for the speaker when I'm on the telephone, yes.
but
And you're saying
it
when
does work.
someone calls you, you can't hear them?
Unless, well, the voice is very faint if I don't push the volume button when I'm on a telephone call.
Or did you mean the speaker phone button? Yeah.
Right.
Okay, Barb, on your phone, do you find the settings button?
Yeah.
Okay, so under settings, it should say sound and vibration.
Yeah. I've looked
Okay.
at that. Let me see if I can. Oh, come on. Okay, so when I go to sound, where are we? Sound and vibration, right?
Okay, my first one is media volume.
Right.
Where is that set on yours?
I've got that, looks like I've got that one off.
Okay, so you might turn that on and that would give you some sound there. So on these, anything that you find that's turned off, I would at least move it halfway.
Okay. Okay, the others, the call volume, ring volume, notification and alarm are all on. It said audio effects are disabled, whatever that is.
Audio special. I'm not seeing audio effects on mine. But when you call somebody, you don't hear the phone, any speech going from you to them and them to you?
I hear from them to me.
Okay, and but they don't hear you?
And they hear me, yeah. The phone works. I said it's just on this directional driving thing that I'm trying to get it.
Okay. So what application are you using for driving? Are you using Google?
It's probably Google.
Okay. So in the Google driving app, there should be a control for sound there. So if I go to Google directions to
there's a place that you can mute it there. You want to make sure it's not muted.
Yeah, I found that.
Okay, on here, discover. Yeah, I'm not seeing any sound control under the Google driving application.
No, I couldn't either. I said I got I got the map on and, showing me the route and the way I was going, but I didn't have, like, my caregiver on her phone, she's got somebody telling her each step of the way.
Right. And it should work.
Should work. Okay, well, I'll just play around with it more. And I said I just tried it the one time, but I thought somebody might be able to help me. Okay, thank you.
You can call 611 on the phone and say, I'm having trouble with the GPS speaking to me. How do I make that work?
Oh, okay. I forgot about that. Okay, I'll give that a whirl. Thank you.
You might let them know you're looking for driving directions audibly. Okay.
Okay.
611 is the telephone equivalent of Google.
Okay.
Well,
I think I need to do that because I don't use the cell phone very much, and I have never used it for the driving instructions. But I have the phone in front of me now. It's a Samsung phone, and when I click on the Google Drive, the only thing that comes up is
not Google Drive. That's where you store stuff.
Oh, is that Google Drive? That's not the driving app.
No.
What
Maybe
is it?
maybe maps or
Maps,
something along
Google.
that line.
Yeah, I have Google Maps.
Yeah.
Oh, it's under maps?
Yeah.
You go to
Well, you have a search box on your screen.
I'm in maps now.
You have a search on you when you don't have anything else open on the bottom of the screen. There should be a white oval down there at the very bottom that says G on the left-hand side. That's Google search.
I opened Google Maps. So
Okay.
I am now in Google Maps. And I see a map that shows where I am.
Yeah.
And I need to go do some studying and find out how to use it. Thank you.
Okay.
I will do that.
So Will, yeah, very briefly, you basically you put in another address and it'll go there. And then at the bottom, there'll be a button that says driving directions. You click on that and then you're in the driving direction part of that app.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Or you can search right from within your browser, your Chrome browser, and say directions to, or put in a street address, and it will take you there. And as David mentioned, in the options that you have, it will say you want to get directions, and you can say from to, I want to leave at this time. It gives you many options as far as choosing when you're going to go and how you're going to go.
Okay. The other thing, I don't see anybody else with questions, and I do have a question on cell phone. When I go into messages, a whole bunch of messages come up.
When you go into where, sir?
I
I'm
swipe
sorry.
them. Messages.
Yes.
The blue cloud. I swipe them right or left, and in either case, they go into what's called archive. Yeah.
Okay.
How in the world do I delete the archive? Because I end up with lots of these things in archive. Do they have to do it one at a time?
I would talk to 611 on how to do that. I have not deleted them.
Okay.
But you don't have to send them to archive. You can delete them from right when you have on that message. If you go to the three dots on the upper right-hand side.
Yeah.
On that particular message, it gives
Yeah,
you
okay,
about
I
the
see that.
seventh or
Delete
eighth
is one of
option
the
down,
options.
says delete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
That's
you. I
what
see that.
use.
That seems that it's not necessary. I thought that if you swiped it one way or the other, it would delete it, but it appears to go into archive either way.
Yeah, you may have to configure the settings on the app, and that'll depend on the details of the app that you're using.
So messages take very little space. So if you're concerned about getting rid of them because they're using up space on your phone, I would not be concerned with that.
All right, Dan has his hand up. Dan?
Yes, we were discussing internet speeds last week.
Yes.
And I'd like to report on that. I checked my phone bill and it said I had plan 6B. So I went to AT&T site and it seems like 6B is 6 megabytes download and 1 megabyte upload. I checked, I couldn't get to the AT&T speed check for whatever reason. But anyway, I checked on another speed check and I was getting over 6. So I assume everything is okay with that. It was just the idea. I didn't know how fast my internet should be.
So you have a separate AT&T account and you have a separate modem for you in your room.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the speed that you were checking there.
Yes.
Okay.
And another item I wanted to talk about was I've been seeing a lot of messages on my screen on MSN.com site, which talks about Linux, various versions of Linux. And I want to know if anybody else was seeing that same thing.
It sounds like you're using the Edge browser which is from Microsoft instead of using Chrome. So I think that's
No.
why you're seeing those
No.
messages come up. Now, as far as, is it current information and correct? I don't know.
I'm not using the Edge browser. I'm using Linux, and it's the Firefox browser.
Okay. But
Safari
again,
Firefox.
what is your default search engine in Linux in your Firefox? It can still be the Bing search engine.
No, it's I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's
Okay.
whatever.
DuckDuckGo? DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo. That's it.
All
DuckDuckGo.
right. And that when you open up the browser, it takes you to DuckDuckGo.
But that's not what I'm talking about. I just was interested to see if anybody else was seeing all that Linux stuff coming up, or whether it was because I'm using Linux and the Safari browser. Okay, but I dug into some of that this morning, and it mentions a new version of Linux, and it's an educational type thing, which is Endless OS. Their website is endlessos.org, which may be worthwhile looking at for some of the people there. And they do have a
Repeat
free
that, would you, Dan? It's endless what?
Endless OS,
Okay, thank you.
and it's a foundation. Empowerment through Learning and Agency, Endless OS Foundation, supporting the next generation of learners, bringing future-ready skills to the table. And they have various downloads there where you can download their operating system, either to operate under Windows or to operate by itself. So if we're moving towards Linux, it might be something that people would like to look at.
Okay,
That was my only-
Don Raymond.
Excuse me?
Okay, I have just wanted to mention that I believe release 17.3.1, which I think is the latest version of Apple's iPhone software, seems to have a new feature in it for their mail app, which looks interesting. And you can just hold down on the individual mail title, and it will drop up a context menu that the bottom choice is block sender. Okay, and so if you're using an Apple's with the 17.3.1 OS, now write in the email, write in the mail application by holding down the middle of the, holding down the description. Your context menu allows you to swipe up and block sender. That's something that I hadn't run onto till a few days ago. They change their stuff all the time. That's what I wanted to mention in case somebody might have wanted to use it.
Thank you, Don. Hank?
I don't have a question, but I just want to relate something that happened to me in case it happens to someone else. I have lots and lots of saved websites, all sorts of things. And I have a whole bunch of folders up on the top in my my top row. And I click on that folder, and then it shows all the shortcuts that I have to the various things under that folder. Like one of my folders is banks and credit cards, and I can go down there and click on the various banks that I deal with and the various credit cards that I have. And the icon at the left of each one of these shortcuts has always shown up in the format of the website that it takes me to. Like PayPal has a blue P as an icon. Well, I went to my shortcuts someday earlier this week, and all of a sudden, all the icons were the same. One nice little gray icon circle with some symbol in the middle of it. And boy, did I miss the old way to find things. And I struggled and I Googled and I Googled and I struggled. And eventually I turned off my computer completely and started it up, and everything was fine. So Google is your friend, 611 is your other friend, and turning everything off and starting over again is your third friend. And that's my offer for today.
Thank you, Hank. Yeah, you're talking about bookmarks in a web browser. And yeah, those things sometimes temporarily disappear.
Computers
Usually
are great
there's-
when they work.
Yeah. It sounds like, some link got broken at some point and then when you started it up, it got a fresh copy and it found all those pointers again.
All right, Barb.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about storage. And I have, is OneDrive, is that one that's out in the cloud, or is that on your machine?
That is the cloud storage.
Is a cloud storage. Okay. I have a message that says you have used all your space. To continue adding files, you'll need more space on your OneDrive. Click below for storage options. So, and then it gives me a list of items which probably they feel I could probably delete. I just found this today, so I haven't really got into it that much.
That they want your money.
They want, so they're lining me up to send me a bill.
Yep.
Well, it's again, you get 5 gigabytes for free from
Right.
iCloud and from OneDrive.
Right.
If you have an Office 365 account, they give you a terabyte worth of space included in your annual subscription.
Okay,
But
no, I don't have that.
Okay, so if you have just gone over the 5 gigabytes that's there, you can go to 50 gigabytes for like $1 for 99 cents. And then to like 200 gigabytes for $2 per month. And
Okay,
it's a very low cost, very efficient way to get your information backed up.
okay. If I go through some of my files and delete them, the old ones I don't want anymore. If I did, they're deleted on my machine and on OneDrive.
So OneDrive, and all the cloud services, basically when you set them up, it decides to saying, do you want me to back up my documents? Do you want me to back up spreadsheets? What it is you want it to back up. If you go into those areas and delete things, yes, it deletes them from OneDrive.
Okay. Okay, I'll play around with it. Get
But
Barbara,
again,
Barbara, can I just ask, are you aware that you're actually using OneDrive for anything? Because there's a lot of spam, and I don't know where you got this message, but there's a lot of spam that could be bogus, asking you to click on a link to do something. And if you're not even using OneDrive, it's like getting spam for a bank you don't bank at,
Okay, I'll be careful. As I said, I was after our session on the storage, I was kind of playing around, and I quite honestly, I'm not sure exactly what I signed up for, but this weekend I've got to get into it and see what I can find out, what I've done.
That's a good point from Saul. But if for
Yeah.
OneDrive, it should be on the lower right-hand side of the screen. It should show you an icon of a cloud. Then if you look at that icon for the cloud and it has a red mark on it that says it needs to have some attention, which is more than likely where you would get that information that says that you need to pay them more money. You've used up the free space that they gave you.
Okay.
Would that be in Windows File Explorer, Ross?
not the amount of space that you're using.
Oh, I mean the icon you're talking about.
Down the
No,
taskbar.
I'm talking about one that's on the taskbar.
On the taskbar.
right-hand
Okay,
side
just
of the
want to
screen.
clarify.
Okay,
And
Yeah.
the other thing that can happen is, if you don't, a lot of these cloud services, they want to back up, all your files. You can also set it up so that it doesn't back up some folders. And then if you want to reclaim some space, you take it from a folder where it's backed up by OneDrive and move it to a folder where it's not being backed up. Then it's not on your OneDrive, it's not backed up, but it's not taking up space on the OneDrive either.
So I hesitate to have you work with it when you are not competent in what you think you are looking at there. If it's coming up from the lower right-hand side of the drive and or you sign into office.com with your Microsoft account, it will prompt you to pay them more for OneDrive. You don't want to pay them if it's not from OneDrive, as Saul mentions. But to say I'm going to work with trying to reduce the amount of space that I'm using so I don't pay them 99 cents a month, I think you'd be better off to pay them the 99 cents a month, and that way you have your information backed up.
right,
Yeah.
right. They haven't mentioned, nobody's mentioned money or that I owe them anything yet. So I said we're just kind of dealing with the space.
Well, it's again, they're trying to, yes, they are in business to make money. Yes, OneDrive is a service that they make money from. But they will also, one of the good parts of it is that it will notify you if you haven't gotten a backup or you're running out of space or there's a problem with the backup. That's also helpful so that you know that you are having a good backup.
Okay. Okay, I'll play around. I'll let you know next week how I make out. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Barb.
Hey Ross, could you just explain, is it the taskbar icon where she could click on and see what's in her OneDrive in the way of folders and files?
Well, if so. So yes, if you click on the OneDrive icon on the taskbar on the lower right-hand side, it has in there, opens up a white box and tells you about OneDrive and mine says the files are synced. And on the lower left-hand side, it says open up the folder. So then it will show you the items that are, mine comes up then in my browser, it says OneDrive, Ross Personal, and shows the folders that it is backing up. And then has an icon in the middle of the page that says status, and it has a blue cloud in there, which infers that it is in synchronization and there's not a problem.
Okay. Okay, I'll look for that. Okay, thank you, Ross.
Okay, Hank?
Yes, I want to point out, since you're talking about cloud services and how much does it cost, I want to point out that there is a tutorial on my list of Hank's mini seminars. And the way you get to that is you go to the website, which I'm now showing you by sharing my screen.
Right.
And you go to resources on the website. And when you click resources, the first thing that comes up that you can click on is something that says Hank's mini seminars. When you click on that, you have a whole menu, which you may or may not see right now.
Yeah, we see.
If you scroll down to item number C34, it's called the cloud. What is it and how can I use it? And when you click on the link over on the right, it will play that mini seminar, tell you which ones, tell you about several places that you can get places to, or get storage space on the cloud, and talks about how you find out how much each one is. And I'll just mention that I far prefer Google Drive because you can have several copies of Google Drive. I have a Google Drive for me, and I have a Google Drive for the seniors computer group. And they each come with 15 gigabytes of space. Thank you. End of speech.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Hank. I have a couple questions. One is that when I first turn on my computer, an little accessibility window comes up. It's about 2 inches by 6 inches, and it covers up the area where I can put in my PIN and lasts for about 15 seconds. Does anybody else have that problem? And if so, how do I get rid of it? Anybody else see that little window that comes up, and it covers up the area where I put in my sign-on PIN for Microsoft, I guess. And I'm trying to get rid of it. It just takes 15 seconds of my life, but I would like to get those 15 seconds back.
I
If
would
not,
go to settings and look for an accessibility box or an accessibility link or heading. And there's probably something set to turn that thing on, and you can probably unset it. Thank you, Ross, for nodding your head.
Yeah, I just did that, and it said this first link comes up and says it's from the Microsoft community and how to get rid of the accessibility/beep guide pop-up. So I'm sure if you went into there, it will show you how to do that. You have to probably be in Windows at that point. Accessibility is trying to help you if you need help seeing the screen or using a different way to get in on the computer. That's why it's coming up at the beginning. It's probably been enabled on your setup.
And another way to get there is type your Windows key and then come up to settings, which is the second thing up, and click on that.
Well, but you might want to look at Google first to say this is where you need to go within those settings.
Okay. Again, repeat, Ross, where do I go to change that?
There's a program called Google Search.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so in the Google search window, you type in there, Windows 11, turn off accessibility pop-up.
Okay. Yeah, I'm running Windows 10, but it shows up there anyway, so.
Well, then you put in there Windows 10.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I will do that. Second thing I wanted to talk about is I discovered in YouTube that almost every city, at least in the United States, has a few guys that go around with a video camera. And so your favorite city, wherever you have lived or do live now, if you want to see more information, go into YouTube and type in the city name, and you will find a lot of free videos that do a walking tour around your particular city. I was amazed that there were so many of those available. But
there's another way to find it. Go to Google Maps and go to the little orange man in the lower right-hand corner and click on that. And you will see lots of places in blue. Most of them are streets where you get street view, but there are other places that are little circles, little blue circles, which will give you individual pictures or videos that have been taken around your space.
Yeah, good. All right, these particular things are just videos of people that have done a video of a particular city or a town. Yeah. Okay, anybody else have any comments or questions? If not, I'll turn it back over to Hank.
I just want to object to the dictator Stan, who has forced everybody to use his view right now, which he recently enabled. So I cannot drag the video tiles around on my own screen, which is a reason not to go with this Zoom.
Well, I'm sure that's probably just a setting also.
I know it was just recently implemented because I was able to drag tiles around earlier until about 2 minutes ago. And now I get a message that says you have to use the host view. Stan is muted, so we cannot hear him.
I apologize. I'm getting good at that. I had it set. I've been playing around with that view setting, and I had it set by the order that you logged into the meeting. And just a few minutes ago, I changed that setting to something else. I forget what. But I did not realize that was affecting everybody's else's screen. I'm surprised because I did not do that on the website. I did that on my app.
It says you cannot move a video because you are following the host's video order on the pop-up when I try to drag a video tile.
Well,
I just clicked on release, something on release host view. Now try it and see if that works.
Still does.
This is one of the things we keep Saul around for.
As long as someone has their hand up, you cannot move the video files either.
That's correct. Yeah, so I can't try it right now because Dan's virtual hand is up.
Right.
Dan, what's your comment?
My comment is Will's picture. It's very strange, and he's partly transparent.
I think it's the fact that I have an orange background and I'm wearing sort of an orangish sweater, and I think video is having problems with that.
Yeah, the background is doing it. So, Will, you're looking rather ghostly.
I forgot to tell you, I died last week.
Oh, now I can move my tile.
They can move the tiles now.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I never tried that before.
Thank you, Stan.
And you can't give it back to Hank because Hank is not controlling this Zoom session. You have to give it back to Stanley to turn this all off.
Again, I apologize profusely.
You're forgiven.
Oh, dear.
Absolution is immediate on this organization.
Willie?
Willie.
Yeah, I was going to say, Stan, that's a really good reason when we're taking votes, when people were jumping all over the screen, for the host to at least fix it temporarily so you could take a vote by hand raising.
The reason it jumped is because Miriam raised her virtual hand and that put her up in the upper left corner, and that confused Stan.
Right.
Okay. So maybe just not asking people to use virtual hands would be a simple solution. Then they don't move around.
Hey, Barb, can you always see her at the top of your head? Can you move your camera in such a way that we can see you?
Well, it's I keep trying to wiggle it. If I try to tip it anymore, it falls off the shelf. So
she needs a cushion on her chair to raise her up.
I tried that during the week. It was very uncomfortable.
Yeah. The thing is, Barb and the booster chair just didn't get along.
I play with it. It's a little portable one I use on this.
Apparently a lower desk then.
Yeah. I need to be able to wedge it lower down somewhere.
Okay, now if no further questions, comments, we'll turn it back over to Hank.
No, over to Stan.
All right, thank you all. I want to ask Hank a question. At the beginning of the meeting, Hank was here very early, and I asked him at the time why he came in so early, and he said he'd talk about it later. And I don't recall him explaining why he logged in at 9:25 a.m. Pacific time.
I wanted to see who showed up when, because of my concern about people missing the meeting. So I showed up way early, quite a while before you did.
Yes, but interestingly enough, I got an email saying that Hank has accessed your meeting.
Oh, that's
And
it.
so I got an email alerting me that somebody was trying to get in, even though I hadn't opened the meeting yet.
Interesting.
That would be a setting in your Zoom account, Stan.
Yes. Right. Okay. I want to remind people, if they are inclined to save the transcript or the chat, I would suggest you do it now because we're about to wrap up. And if you want to save the chat, well, like I said, chat or a transcript, but you should be able to save any one of those. And if you want, do it now before we close the meeting. After the meeting's closed, you can't do that.
But I would look under your in your Windows Explorer, Stan. I would look to find your Zoom folder, and you should find a date and time for today's session. And in that, you will find a complete copy of the chat, so that if somebody doesn't save it and sends you an email later, you can send it to them.
Okay. Okay.
Back to Stan.
It will show you, okay, I'm sorry. If you click on the transcript window at the bottom, it says Save Transcript, and you